Hello everyone, and welcome back to Wargame Red Dragon. We have a 2v2 for you guys today on Punch Bowl. A bit of an older game, but still a goodie, at least that's what I'm hoping. And I'm teamed up with Jury Duty, Lieutenant Colonel, and we're going against Quicksilver and Quickbling Depression, both friends of the channel. And we have another plot twist for you. Quicksilver's getting to be a bit of a regular here, and he has joined, even though he's on the other team, to give us his thoughts on the game today. So, you want to say hello?
Hello, glad to be here.
Nice to have you. So, the beginning and the end of this game struck me as going really pretty differently, and I think first let's just look at the short and fetter. So, my opener, I have a T80A, I have a bunch of base Motostrelki, which is a questionable choice, then some BRDM3s, BTR80As, all of this, and my hope was to get control of this part of the forest, use it to be able to project sort of zone of control over Boris and the Elena Fetter sort of forests. So that was the goal going in. We'll see how it works. And then I think you and Jury were fighting in Center Dimitri, right?
That is correct. My plan for my opener was to try and get into the top of Boris, at the very least defend it, and I'm going for a straight 2-point mech push into their 2-pointer. That's the plan at least anyway.
This is your Aussie mech deck, right?
Commonwealth mech.
Commonwealth mech, okay. Alright.
Yeah.
So pretty different, a bit more flexible. And this is what I meant by the opener kind of going okay. And the T-80A is able to get his guns online. We got a nice firing concave here. Falskirmjäger are not cheap. So I was sitting there going, okay, this is good. We're like 120 points up on kills, I think, at this point. And I was feeling okay, right? This is a solid wall of Soviet guns. But you guys haven't quite made contact yet, other than Boris, right?
I had a few Rover Wombats opening up into Boris that got, I think, maybe 1 or 2 troop kills, but most of them got absolutely deleted by the Conkers and the BTR-70s.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think you took out at least one of my units of infantry, because there was another one up here. There's 2 transports, 1 surviving Conkers. That's not great math.
I think that works out still in my favor, though, because I think I only sent like 3 Wombats, so 1 Conkers for 3 Wombats.
Yeah, that's not too bad.
Not too bad.
The only reason I didn't get more is because as soon as I saw the rovers, I was sitting there going, oh god, I know what's about to happen. And I just panicked, told the Conkers to get out. So, alright, so this is sort of where it starts to go a little bit not good for me. So Crippling's doing something that's very nice. He's getting units around, he's saying, okay, well this didn't go amazing, but then he's stretching the map, right? So I have a single unit of Spetsnaz crew, I don't really have much other support, and it's going to be a bit of a challenge. So even if I get these 2 kills, these guys are just 10-point tanks, and my Spetsnaz, well, now he knows where they are, he knows what they are, he can respond to that, and sort of keep going forward. And meanwhile, it looks like we missed a little bit of contact here. Jury's pressing you pretty hard, isn't he?
Yeah, he's definitely putting up with quite the fight. I was very hesitant playing against him being a Lieutenant Colonel, which is a higher rank than me, but F111C coming in, and I think that's going to be pretty brutal.
Jeez. That must have been at least 200 points worth of stuff.
Yeah. Just once again showing you the right plane at the right time can make all the difference.
Yeah, but the last one we recorded together, you said you didn't pull in anything at all for planes.
Yeah, so I flew a helicopter over there earlier and noticed that it took a long time to die, so I decided to bring in Seed and a F111C. It's a real strategic mind game on when to pull in planes, and
Gotcha.
there's certainly better planes than other ones. The F111C proving to be one of the best.
I mean, the 1,000-kilogram bombs, it's a hard thing to deal with. But, I mean, just looking for a second from my perspective here, the fight was starting to get a little bit tough in Fetter. Definitely a little bit tough here, and I'm kind of being thinned out. But we had a good hold on Boris, and the fight was symmetrical enough here where at this point in the game I was pretty confident. Because if we can hold you to that corner, it's really predictable places to put CVs, and we have all of the space here. So I was thinking, okay, well this is fine. If we can hold in Fetter, if we can hold on this side, then we just get that ticking +1. And that was sort of what I was feeling at this point in time. So if we switch it, looking at the field as it is right now, what was your long-term plan?
I really wanted to get into that +2. If we could get 1 point down the bottom and plus the +2 neutralized, even possibly decapped, that would be great. As you can see there, I'm poking through with my commandos. I want to try and stop any reinforcements coming down that line.
Oh, no. Oh no, no, no. So you didn't know this was here?
Not a clue that it was there. Just unfortunate placement.
Oh, goodness gracious. I just want to see them get into range, because that's just going to be one shot, one kill, one dead command vehicle. Goodness gracious. There it is. There it is. So this is the first bit of panic, because losing Dimitri is losing a +2. You can't really sustain that for too long before it becomes a really hard fight just to get even, let alone win. And here come the bombers again. Oh no. I mean,
yeah, this time I'm going for the T90S, because even though the top tech bombs, they can do quite the damage to the tanks. Unfortunately, he moved forward and I missed.
Yeah, well, sometimes luck can be a double-edged sword. But
Absolutely.
I guess so your long-term goal for capping this is then to hold in this section of town, or was it to go sort of more in the middle in the woods here?
I just wanted to push into that little town there and hold that town. I only need a little section because I was going to bring in a command tank. So even if you knew where it was, it would have been a right bastard to kill.
Gotcha. And then, you know, Warrior Milans in the back parts of the woods, still able to use their ATGMs, maybe some SAS up here for anti-helicopter work. Yeah, it's a devil of a time pulling people out of that section of forest, but back on this side, things have started to go a little bit rotten. So Motostrelki just didn't have the punch that I needed, and I didn't have enough fire support, nearly enough fire support, and this is something I struggle with as Soviets. BTR-80s, I mean, they're 15 points, but the BTR-90s are more expensive, BRDM-3s are far from cheap, and it just ends up being a bit of a price thing. And then, like a bit of a bonehead, I just had this T-80A sitting there for the longest time, not actually engaged in combat, not really doing anything at all. So a couple of mistakes there ended up costing me my resupply route. Which... Another
thing is you're lacking quite a bit on recon as well. Some of the enemies you can see, but the more eyes you have on, the easier it is to think of the counter. Buratino would have done wonders as well on this particular map.
But Buratino,
the town wasn't in the deck. That's the benefit
so,
of hindsight, right?
Yeah, so full disclosure, I only have one Soviet deck, and I usually only pull it out for team games. And that's generally longer maps type deal, where the Buratino is a bit harder to use, and I get more use out of the Uragan and the Smirch. But on this map, they're fighting their minimum range pretty well. I was happy about this, though. BTR-80A around the back line, getting a couple of kills, I think. Did we actually get the Spartan, or no?
No. I don't think you do. Spartans are decently well armored for what they are. Double F111C going in up the top.
Yeah. Oh, wait, double F111C. Oh, we missed it. We missed it. Oh, I'm so sorry. That looks like the tank kill.
There was a T90 there.
I'm surprised that worked even with the 4 top armor. I mean, Kurnos won't even get through that necessarily in one shot.
Yeah, it can prove effective. It can also knock it down to like 2 HP, and Milan can finish it off then, but this Ferret here was an absolute menace.
Goodness gracious. Swing fires. I actually saw, you know the people who do like the tank chat things on YouTube?
Yeah.
They put out something about the Ferret recently as like one of the British advancements in anti-tank warfare because of the swing fires. And I think it was a commentary as well about like the cost, right? Because it's a cheap Jeep with moderately expensive, but not crazy expensive missiles on the top. So I was meaning to check that out later on.
I think honestly people overlook the Ferret. There's a lot of great recon options, but for 45 points you get really good optics and 6 ATGMs with decent accuracy with 22 AP. Definitely in the right situation can prove very effective.
Then I think this is just a case of I brought out the wrong thing at the wrong time. So my thought process here was, if I'm losing in Feder, the best thing that I can do with my knowledge of this deck is get some infantry up here and push you out of the center zone completely. So that's what I was attempting to do here with these Motostrelki and MTLBVs, was just shoot the short gap between these sections of woods and try to get into the town. I don't know if that was smart, if that was stupid, if it was just unnecessary, but that was the thoughts at least.
Also, he's only just now recapped your 2-pointers, so we've got quite the tick lead on you, and still ticking +1 as well.
Yeah, nearly 200 points behind, and those...
F111C is coming in again.
Okay, so I was curious about this. The first time we just kind of glanced at this. A second T-90 spy for this position before sufficient anti-air to fend off the bombers.
Well, he did have anti-air coming. I just killed it with the Ferret.
Oh yeah, you're right. Because that was a couple of...
Which I'm rearming now, because...
Goodness gracious. How long was the kill list on that thing?
It only had like 10 or so kills, but they were all like either troop transports with the infantry in it or AA pieces. Like even the one AA piece.
It only has 6 missiles. How did it get 10 kills?
I rearmed it a few times. Speaking of which, here comes another lovely victim right up the road in the SX-250.
Oh yeah. Here he is. Let's see. There's another missile. Boom.
Here he is.
Gone. Infantry gone. Oh man. One 45-point Ferret. I'm gonna have to call this replay just Ferret. No other explanation. Just Ferret.
Just Ferret.
Yeah. So this is when things start to go sort of from bad to worse. So I was attempting to get into the woods on this side, and then I don't really know what my thought there was, because Northland's Jägeri have the range to fend off anything there, and I knew these guys were here because I saw them engaging as Motostrelki before Crippling took this town. I think it's just sort of like, I don't know about you, for me it gets harder to think when I'm losing.
It definitely does, because you're trying to think of different strategies, what you can do. You're often fighting on different parts of the map, because you're also in mid as well. You're not just down in Fedor, so you can definitely
only in Boris.
Yeah, so can definitely be hard to do.
So this is the Motostrelki and MCLBVs moving up, and then Osa's behind him, KA-52, trying to get a couple of Jalos, and then just sort of make you have to fight me on this side, and make Crippling have to fight me on this side instead of Fedor.
Another double run of the F111C, man. I got beautiful use out of these during this game.
Does that ever get old, or is it just always more of a, yep, let's just send him again? Oh man. That's just so brutal. It's so brutal.
It always makes me feel amazing. I was really sad about that death. There for the ADAS. That was a very expensive loss.
I mean, the way that Ferret's going, I would just put a Ferret here, because... So this is a trick, it took me until about a couple of weeks ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, to learn it, but this spot right here has really phenomenal vision with ATGMs, both right here at this section, but then also down here as well, so something positioned in those woods can support the shooting the gap sort of strategy up to this section.
I was trying to place my warriors there, but it was very finicky to try and get them in the right spot.
And now there's Coxon, so in addition to that 25T, I think he just really wanted to make sure that was dead. But I mean, ADATs are a high-value target, it's certainly worthwhile.
Absolutely.
Right. Here comes Nakula, 1 shot, 1 miss, 2nd shot, cheap kill, and I think I actually lose him to the Rover, I'm pretty sure. Or nope, okay, Rover's down. So hey, I mean, he did okay. Nakula did alright. Should do alright, because that thing's a flipping monster, but...
At this point I was really focused up at the top, so I didn't even realize there was a push coming down to the mid until my teammate called out for help, so... This was a really good maneuver, because it made me force me to waste a plane, force me to stop sending in units, really made me deviate my attention, stop me getting into 2-pointer.
That's exactly what we were talking about in the chat at the time. We were sitting there going, okay, if this goes on, we're going to just lose Fedor completely, we're going to lose Dmitry completely, we have to sort of shift the paradigm. And I guess the idea was see how far we could go, right? And the issue with that is whenever you shoot this gap, you always have to bring more than you think. And that's a lesson I've learned the hard way a couple times, actually since this game as well. Because, I mean, it doesn't look like very far. But in terms of Wargame, it may as well be 10 miles long sometimes. So. I mean, and the reason for that, look, there's a Stormer
Sadly,
here.
losing my F111C there because I was calling it out to go to Dimitri, but didn't realize until too late that you guys rolled down in mid still.
Yeah, bunches of Screjets. I did lose the Akula there to a Stormer, so that was about time. But
Stormer's going into his 5 support role and taking out the Screjets.
Yep. Direct fire with Star Streaks. But
love to see it.
You don't need that much AP against something with that little armor, so I guess it works. I think we do get some revenge here, though. That's pretty nice. Oh, come on. 1 hit. Are you kidding me? 1 point of strength left. Goodness gracious. Oh. I'm sorry for zooming in on this. I just want this so badly. Yep. There it is. But, like an idiot, I traded a 25T for it. So, probably not the best.
Hey, moral victories are still a victory in your books.
Yeah, sometimes it's the best you can do. I don't really know what I was thinking at this point. Second 25T. Oh.
Honestly, not the worst call, but because we didn't have too much AA there, but what we did have.
What was this?
That was the other F111C, I believe. Yep.
Hey, that's a good kill, and we actually got out, I think, too, with that 25T. So, bit of a miracle there. Yeah, I mean, this had potential. It didn't have enough potential quickly enough. And then, like, the Vickers answer, the SCRV answer, just solid answers to that.
And the Wombats.
And the Wombats. All 4 of them.
6 of them. Oh, 1 died.
Yeah. Are there any other recoilless rifle jeeps that are as good as the Wombat?
That Wombat is the best.
I mean, on range, on AP power, other places you're lucky if you can get 17.5. Really?
Well. Accuracy as well.
3 HE.
3 HE instead of 2. So, you should have a look at one of these in real life, and the gun on it is massive. It isn't a 105, it's a 120.
Okay. I get that there's some basis for it, but then my question is, if I'm paying 15 points for that sort of performance other places, why am I not paying 15 points for it here?
Yes.
Great. Yes. Clearly Australian bias.
Yeah, Australian bias, 100%.
So we're 18 minutes in. My team's anyway losing at a +1, 300 points past it, and just now we do pretty much entirely lose control over the far end of the 2-pointer. So at this point in time, Jury and I were sitting there going, okay, well, this is probably lost. But we still kept fighting it out, and that's something I just want to say. I've surrendered before, I've fought it out before. Sometimes when you keep fighting it out, it's a pointless 2 or 3 minutes. But this didn't really turn out to be one of those games, so if you guys notice, there is still about 15 minutes of play here. And you wouldn't necessarily guess that just looking. Dimitri is in some rough straits, Boris is pretty much a ghost town, and then Fetter, oh jeez, don't know why it does that sometimes. Fetter is very nearly capped enough that that you guys could have put a CV certainly up on the high ground here with a, like, you put 1 more tank on this side and some anti-air, then put a CV. I guess it's predictable, but right there. So, I guess what was the reasoning in not doing that?
I don't know, that was my side, not my lane, not my problem.
Okay.
We're trying to recuperate into mid after losing our position there and try and re-support our defenses there, because you could easily push up into other parts of our 2.0 or continue pushing into that forest. We're now getting clustered. That was a very good call, I think.
I was pretty happy with it. I mean, looking at the replay, I'm just kind of sad if we don't get the 1A5 and 02, but is that...
I'm pretty sure you get it.
1 point of strength.
Oh, 1 point of strength? Oof.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so the logic here was...
Immortal Wombat Sliv on.
God, jeez. So the whole reasoning there, by the way, was just that the amount of stuff that I saw you pull out. I was sitting there looking at it going, Motostrelki, Fego team that's out of ammunition. If you decided to throw it all at the wall, I would have been toast. So the reasoning for that smirch was I needed to give you a reason not to push. And, well, I saw you move stuff up. I thought that would be the reason not to push. So,
absolutely.
I'm happy to see it worked. Yeah.
So me and Jury Duty are having a fight over this town and this forest. Absolutely brutal with fire supporting on both sides, and my infantry taking a pounding from this constant barrage of arty coming in.
Yeah, the Coxswains. I mean, not the most popular choice because of the long aim time, but 9 HE, that's going to hurt when it lands, and he has two of them as well. So was he firing them both sort of together at the same target, or was it more spread out than that?
More spread out than that. He was firing them at separate targets and really pounding them.
I guess
and
that's,
being mech, it takes me forever to get my units back up to the front lines.
I mean, looking at it right now, if there were more infantry here, I would almost say that he could have pushed you back, but this is probably not going to end well with a couple of groups of commandos 90.
Very stunned and damaged commandos 90.
Yeah, okay, I mean, fair. These guys are 25-point tanks, by the way, and I know a lot of people overlook them, and they just don't even put anything like it in their deck, especially like newer players. Like, I never had these in my deck when I was just first getting into the game, because I looked at it and I thought to myself, what would ever be the point? But we just saw the point right there, so...
Yeah, those two 25-point tanks just made their money back by killing two commandos and a green jacket, so...
Yeah, nice. And then that's just moving the arty along. This side's getting pounded. It's actually pretty thin up here, thinner than I ever thought it was going to be. So.
Yeah, well, that mid push really made me have to divide my my attention, but I think it's been pretty equal in terms of kills up the top there.
No,
more kills
Ferret.
for the list.
No, have mercy. I did notice I'm trying to get away, and the Ferret just doesn't care. 2 Jalos, 60 points.
Once you get into a lead, that Ferret won't miss.
Yeah, no. And, jeez. Just, So, another thing, by the way, so the reason I pulled out the Jalos to that side was because, for whatever reason, Crippling never really seemed to move past this portion of that zone. And I was expecting him to, and it just never really seemed to happen that much. So, he still had the 121, it's never been really moved forward. He had good smoke for it. And I feel like that could have definitely pushed me completely out of the zone, and instead, I mean, we have a cap here, and it was just a desperation cap, but I was looking at it going, I mean, it is Conquest, right? So get a +1 while we can. And that sort of lack of further push and fetter was what let me spend the points here. It's what let me spend the points to even do the offensive we saw earlier toward Anna. So, I don't know, I mean, far from me to say while losing on this side that I would have done something differently as my opponent, but it would have been even more brutal just to see a bit more aggression and really just kick me while I'm down sort of gameplay.
Absolutely, but Wargame's one of those games where you could be building up amassing a force to push what you think is a heavily defended area, and all that's there is 2 squads of BDV 90.
Which, this is not going to work very well. They could probably take on the Stormer, but even that would be a hard fight. And then
without fire support, yeah.
Yeah. Poor guys.
At this point, I would have moved my CB back, tried to save it, and put it in again later.
Yeah, I think some part of me had just sort of surrendered to the inevitable here, and I thought to myself, if I didn't move it, maybe he'd just pull back. Because he'd sort of gone up and then pulled back.
If I don't move, they can't see me.
Well, if I don't move, then you might not think that my CV is where you're pushing.
Yeah, no, I've definitely done similar things to that in the past. There's a lot of mind games they can go into, hunting CVs and stuff.
Please tell me this guy doesn't run out of fuel before he gets where he's going.
No comments.
Oh, you gotta be kidding me. So, he must have gone all the way around here, and then... Well, I guess this part's retaken now.
Yeah, so I kind of put him up into the forest until I'm ready to push him in. Because I had to stop and divide my attention to the middle. Is my Ferret still there, or did they finally get it? Yeah, no, my Ferret's still there.
Yeah, it was being fired at by Coxswains, and it just did not care. That position's annihilated, but he's fine. He's living to fight another day. Like, legend has it that driver did so well that he now actually fights for the British Army. So, Wargame just printed out an entire driver for a Ferret, just saying, hey, sign me up, I'll do good things.
Definitely an
Yeah,
MVP in this match.
yeah. I'm trying to go after him
BTI
too.
is trying to go after him, but I did the smart
No.
play of hiding him in the forest rather than actually fully retreating him.
Yeah, I'm surprised I couldn't see him. Medium optics on this thing is part of what you pay for with these guys, and
Yeah, but the ferret's got small size, so.
oh. I always thought it was gonna be medium. Oh, that's
Oh,
good.
medium.
That's good.
No,
No,
I
you're
don't know
right.
what
You're
the
right.
size is. Yeah, it is.
You're
I'm
right.
right. Yeah.
And that's
So
what 100 or so meters of sight difference there,
yeah,
or is it that severe? I don't quite remember. I did
I don't
also. I
know the
mean,
exact stats.
this is just where I sort of started taking vehicles and going, what can I get, right? So I was looking for a CV back here. I thought maybe it might be in this section, and then the VCR 70 is just living his best life. Killing
Yeah,
a
poking
Spartan.
and probing with vehicles. All my stuff has ran out of ammo from killing. All my
Yeah.
stuff to get.
And then I was just running away from the Fusiliers, going, that's not a fight that I really want to have. Maybe I can get in against the reinforcements. And then I think I do for a minute. But, yeah, okay, guns online.
You force me to unload early here. You kill my jacket. You kill another
A
green
couple of
jacket.
transports. Yeah, that's some nice fire support, honestly. Not bad.
Yeah, I honestly did a lot of damage with that one BTI 80, but my Fusiliers 90 is slowly making its way towards it.
Yeah, and they will win, right? I mean, that I have no doubt about that. But just on the operational side of things, everything here that no longer has a vehicle, it's going to take so much longer to get up to the front.
Absolutely, and you damaged them quite heavily too as well.
So now we're going through the middle, so ZTQs. This is one thing. So as much as we are losing this game really pretty badly, I think it was an exercise in trying to keep the winning team on the back foot, because we just, every time we sort of started getting pounded in one position or another, we're just like, okay, well, let's try somewhere where we haven't fought yet. And so now you see that going through the center.
Yeah,
Mixed
and
success.
yeah, you nearly caught me off in the center, but once again, Ferret being MVP, I was able to spot the stuff coming and react to it
Even when
accordingly.
you didn't
So
have
I've
the gun. Still
yeah.
being a dick.
Out
And
of
this was
ammo,
pretty
but
good.
not forgotten.
Yeah, so Crippling came in while we were looking up there and just pushed right through everything. Dragoner this far forward means that, like, I don't know, I've probably lost this side of things, because if the blue force side of the field gets up into here, that means that their reinforcing lane is so much safer. And I still have Conquerors, and you still do have to watch out for that, but when he has a Scout Defender, he has control here, he has Dragoner there. If he wanted to, he could even send stuff up here and then directly north into these woods, and nothing I have in these towns is going to have any sort of opportune firing range on them. Just not going to happen. So.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's informational warfare. We don't know that. For all we know, the town could be more heavily fortified than Stalingrad. So you know.
Or maybe I have VDV-90 making their way to sort of recapture this position.
Absolutely. So it's one of those things where very, very much emphasize the importance of recon. The more you know, the more you can react.
Unless you're doing recon this way. So I have BRDM-3s, they're getting pounded by an STRV, and then I've always wanted these BMPs to work out better than they do. So 10 rounds a minute, 5 frontal armor, not great range, but 65% accuracy, and I always want these guys to be like anti-infantry fighting vehicles, but I've never been able to get them to perform.
For the price, you're still better off getting a Charlo just for this. I think it's 39 rounds per minute. I can't remember off the top of my head, but it's like an auto cannon version of that with one less HE.
I thought Jalos were 12, and then the Norov was 20.
I'm pretty sure the Jalos have some ridiculous rate of fire.
It could be the other way around. It could be that the Jalos are 20 and the Norov is 12. But one of them is... I mean, and yeah, we got a good shot there. It just cost me another BMP, so not really cost effective. And then I didn't have a single thing. And this was embarrassing. I'm playing a Soviets deck. I have a T-80U in here, and I never once brought him out to handle that heavy tank. So, missed opportunities. Missed opportunities. Ooh, this could be a fun fight to watch. Bibon Shengpo versus Fusiliers, 30 versus 15. And I wonder, the cost differential here is not that great. So, I don't know. I get the
One of
feeling you
those-
want. Go ahead.
One of those, yeah, it's one of those things where at the range, the how to pronounce those
B1
SPG
Tranquil.
units, yeah, they would win 100% of the times. But in close range, the Future 90s definitely have the advantage until they start getting artied. But that goes both ways.
Yeah. What was that? Was that a mortar, or was that something a
I
little
think
bigger?
that was a challenger,
Beacon.
actually.
Oh, yeah. All right, direct fire. Jeez. Yeah, okay. I mean that makes sense. You would have had the vision on there. Yeah, more even fight than I would have thought. Okay, all right. Hold on. 158, 154. Oh no. He's gonna make it to like right about here, and that's all she wrote for that poor little engine. It's the engine that couldn't. Yeah. So, alright, let's speed things up just a bit, because this game is pretty much over. We've scrapped as much as we could scrap, we've fought as much as we could fight, and I think I did just miss the Osa getting a one-shot on one of your planes as well, so that was a nice way for me to end the game anyway. But yeah, I mean, it was an exercise in bringing out the wrong units, and also I think sort of should tell me the message of I might even just want to redo that Soviet deck completely, because I have some tools in there that ended up being useless, which
Absolutely.
you can't do.
So,
yeah.
it's half of this game is just building the right deck. The other half is knowing how to use it.
Yeah, it's such a steep learning curve too. I mean, you come into the game and you're just looking at it and you see all the shiny new units and you see the stuff that you want to work, and figuring out the difference between what you want to work and what actually works is just soul crushing. And unless you have people to play with and who can tell you that, it's always just trial and error. So
That's
I mean,
it. Couldn't have put it better myself.
well,
And
I
you
do
know,
talk for a
despite having nearly close to 1,300 hours in this game, I'm still learning new things every time I play. So
yeah. So the kills losses 6780 to 4160. That is pretty extreme for a 2v2, especially one that didn't go the full time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful work. Crippling actually did even better KT. I just got wrecked. I got pancaked that entire game. So yeah, I think I ended up with 2087 to 3725, nearly down 2-1. That's not what you want your KD to look like. But
really wish I had that kill list of the Ferret there, because no doubt would have been long.
Yeah. Well, hey, that's all we've got for you guys today. So thank you all for hanging around, and many thanks to Quicksilver for becoming a regular on the channel and definitely helping me out with figuring out sometimes why things go the way they go. So many thanks, Quicksilver.
Always happy to help, and I'm sure I'll be on many more videos to come.
Yes, sir. All right, we'll see you guys real soon.